First, withdrawal from the rest of the world, where all the money in the industry is left here. Tariffs go up, and the government makes it much harder for businesses to move their operations overseas. The days when other countries threw up tariffs and all sorts of other trade barriers to American goods, then we open our factories there, government does nothing to retaliate, they're done. They're done with Trump.
That is not good. Like, look, everyone has their own priorities, okay? So this is my bias, and it's important for people to know what my bias is. My bias is in favor of the American worker, period. So the protectionism that kind of started under Trump and continued under Biden, I'm actually in favor of. I want more manufacturing in America. I want us to build things, to create things, to export things, and not rely so heavily on importing products that were basically created and made and manufactured by cheap labor that was exploited abroad. And so
Anna is really, every time she climbs up that ladder, boy, you're gonna listen to Cenk do a serious mental gymnastic to bring her back down. It's really ridiculous to me. I think we have a situation here of a little bit of I would say a jealousy situation, but we haven't gotten to that point of the clip. But Anna is breaking this down exactly for what it is. And let's see her continue to do the best she can until somebody comes from the barrel and
So the idea that this is now being framed as Kamala Harris is pro, I guess, consumer, because it would lead to cheap prices to exploit cheap labor abroad, while Vance is pro-worker, that is not good. That is not a good look for Democrats, if you ask me.
Yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings about that because I don't think that Jim Cramer is correct, and that's not a controversial opinion. He's almost never correct. But when he frames it as Vance is the populist, and he said Vance is for the workers, the average worker, and Kamala Harris is the globalist.
Disaster.
Yeah, that's not helpful at all, right?
I mean, but wouldn't it be that, Cenk? But let's see a little bit more. By the way, guys, if you like these clips, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you.
Not helpful to Kamala Harris, but the question is it true? And the New York Times piece that I was referring to earlier specifically laid out how Kamala Harris is meeting with corporate executives to talk to them about opening up manufacturing possibilities in other countries.
Yeah, look, I'm less protectionist than you are, but I am for the average worker. I want to get there in a slightly different way, and I think that the tariffs, et cetera, do drive up prices, and I don't think that's a great idea. But there are different ways to protect the average worker. Don't let the corporations write the trade deals. It drives me crazy that they just hand it off and go, oh yeah, write it in your own interest instead of the worker's interest and the average American's interest. Now, okay, having said all that, when he frames it that way, it's both very bad news for Kamala Harris. He thinks he's doing her a favor, but he's painting her as the pro-establishment candidate that Americans don't want at all.
The pro-corporate stooge. That's the way that he is.
And he's not painting her anything. That's what she is. Okay, let's break it down because Cenk really just the mental gymnastics out here really should be studied one day. Maybe when the country calms down, how people can go out their way to look at something. Guys, it's not a white horse with black stripes. It is a zebra. Okay, like dead serious. Now, all right, coming back to it. Here's the thing. So Cenk says the tariffs make the prices too high, and that's not good for the consumer. No, let me tell you something. We are in a country where we don't produce nothing. You know what we produce? We produce war, and we don't even produce surveillance because that's Israel. So what do we really produce? What, like social media, tech, maybe tech companies. That's what we're becoming. Tech company manufacturer, right? That's fine. I'm not hating on that. Obviously, I need it. I'm using it now. But what about that? It's not everybody that's going to do that, that's going to produce this to be a part of tech company production to export across the globe. It doesn't make sense. So we have stopped promoting hard work in society. And I don't mean manual labor the whole time. I mean, what can we produce? What is made in America? What is known in America, right? So when Trump puts a tariff on these things, on these countries, and then the manufacturer now has to come home, yes, and give the jobs at home, but they'll say that, oh well, it raises the prices. And then this is the part where I do become like this big shoulder pad 80s, Republican of, corporate Republican a bit, where I'm saying this is where corporate tax cutoffs do play a part. They do, because then it'll trickle down to the consumer, right? If you are like, it would only make sense to me if I know that I'm forcing you, and in a way I kind of am with the taxes, right? But I'm not really forcing. I didn't write a law, right? But I'm telling, with the tariffs rather, but I'm telling you that it's going to cost you more. I'm going to charge you more, right? If you go outside for that, first of all, that cheap. We have people here who can do things, who want to do things. Now, I don't know for how long though. I will say I don't know, because we have not produced a society of people who want to keep on building and creating. Okay, I'm not trying to be wordy, all right? So I'm forcing you anyway, where the things with the manufacturing will be more expensive. So I will give you a break here, so we can, in the taxes, you can at least break even or break off even a little less, right? Because now you're providing jobs, you're doing so. This is an incentive. You're doing something for the American society, right? This is an incentive. You're doing something for America. You're providing jobs to America, and then also now the stuff can still be cheap. It can, because I'm not on your back with these high taxes. I've helped you out as well.
Bragging about it, like, oh, she's a pro-corporate.
Because that's what he wants. That's what he wants. Remember, Jim Cramer's #1 priority is profitability, increased profitability for these corporations, which usually translates to what, Cenk? Corporate stock buybacks, which artificially inflates the value of, shares that he might be invested in himself. That's all he cares about.
Yeah, so look, they would love Trump on CNBC if it wasn't for two things, because he gives away trillions of dollars to corporations. So the Kramers of the world probably pleasure themselves to the bills that Trump has passed. But it's the protectionist stuff that drives them crazy. But more importantly, he's so unstable. They're like,
you don't have to be an ist. You don't have a protectionist. I don't know. These progressives, when they talk, I'm just talking regular, like protectionist, ableist, like just talk, so you'll have to excuse me. I don't know the lingo with that one.
I don't know. This lunatic can do anything, and then that'll disturb their beloved markets, right? And in a bad way, for all of us, right? But when he's bragging about what a pro-corporate globalist Kamala Harris is, there is one silver lining, and it's kind of important. So for the rest of the country, that's a terrible message to send out about Kamala Harris. But for the CNBC viewer, it might not be so bad. Because I realized literally in the middle of watching that clip, I'm like, oh, these are the Nikki Haley voters. The people who watch CNBC, I'm gonna call them the CNBC Republicans from now on. They're the ones who are not for Trump, because they're like, I don't want the stock market to go down. I don't want protectionist measures. I don't want business limited in any way. And so Trump gives us all the tax cuts and deregulation, but he does limit us on these tariffs, et cetera. And he's such a wild man. So those CNBC Republicans might flip to Kamala Harris.
No, that is happening.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever. I guess, right? Like, he explained the thing for what it is. I'm not even saying that Jim Cramer was trying to help Trump or I'm not even saying that, but he just explained the thing. Why are you guys now going back and forth to say, well, he was making it sound like that to bring in the CNBC Republic? What are you talking about? It's a fact, because Trump did place tariffs on China. This is not some sort of make-believe. We're going to dress this person up this way, that person that way. I remember when Trump placed those tariffs on China because they told us we will go to war with China because of it. Don't get me wrong. I really do have my questions about Trump for this term. That second term, if it would have came after that first term, oh my God, this country would have been so much more different than what it is today. It's just that I know that the people on the back end, all the consultant groups, all your, all of these little lobbyist groups and consultant groups, now that I've figured out what the deep state really is, now I'm like, it's gotten thicker, and I'm not sure that he can push back on it enough. That's all I'm saying.
That's already happening. A story we'll do later on the show today. The Nikki Haley supporters have now formed a group, Haley voters for Harris. And look, in my opinion, part of this political realignment that's happening is a result of Donald Trump entering the political space, leading to like Republican voters feeling repulsed by him and essentially joining this already giant tent of Democrats. Okay, we're talking about Bush era Republicans now joining the Democratic Party. And I don't want their influence in the Democratic Party. I can't stand those people. I'm gonna say it with my full chest. I can't stand those people. The neocons, okay, the globalists, no, never liked them. And they were coming up at a time when I became politicized.
Okay, Anna, calm down. Let me help you out, okay? They were already there. This is not just now happening, okay? Like, we literally watched Joe Biden and we're gonna say Joe Biden for now, right? But his team there's 2 wars going on and one brewing in the Pacific. They started bombing Somalia again. I don't know if they've stopped by now. I mean, when you hear, and again, it is more of it's like Joe Biden, he controls things in a committee standpoint, as in like he's not controlling. It's the people around him, his cabinet. All right, go check out his cabinet. They're controlling things. Okay, so Ukraine, all the money we gave Ukraine, what's going on in Israel, they just sent another $3.8 billion worth of weapons over to Israel so that they can drop it on civilians. What? Like, what is she saying, dog? Like, nah, like, I get it. We can have you're going around you're doing this merry-go-round, and it's really making you look, it must be a lot of work, because it's a lot of work for me to try to figure it out right now. Let me just say this. There is a political realignment happening with the people. With the people, not the establishment. Both parties, by the way, are the establishment. I used to think it was just the Democrats. Okay, but I woke up to this like at least a year ago. About to be for at least a year now. Anna, you just getting here? What's going on? You know more than I do as far as I can know in the stories and whatever. So anyway, the people though are tired of the lies. I mean, how long are we going to vote out racism? Or how long are we going to, vote our constitution, but then write anti-Semitic bills and stuff that are hate speech laws, right? So people are tired on both ends, okay? So there's a realignment happening there where the polarization is starting to mesh back together a little bit, where people are saying, listen, whatever it is, it's just not working, period. And maybe I'll just leave it there, but I don't know. This girl's really going out her way, and I just don't think there was a point for that. I see you guys at the next one. Bye.